Chosen one, Allah saw you. Every tear you wiped away before anyone noticed. Every dua you whispered with shaking lips in the dark. Every night you lay awake while the world slept, wondering if relief would ever come. None of it disappeared into nothing. Allah saw the nights you cried in silence. He saw the patience no one praised. He saw the faith you held when answers didn't come. And if you're listening now, it's because the gift your patience unlocked is closer than you think. Don't leave. This moment was written. Allah does not miss details. Not one breath. Not one struggle. Not one moment of patience. Before we go any further, if this message already feels like it's speaking directly to you, gently tap like and consider subscribing to Deen and Discipline. Not for the algorithm, but so this space can continue reaching hearts that feel unseen, just like yours. Stay with me. You see, most people think patience is passive. Like waiting in line. Like doing nothing. But what you've been doing, that wasn't passive. That was active faith. You resisted when temptation was loud. You chose integrity when shortcuts were everywhere. You trusted Allah when logic told you to panic. And even when doubt knocked on your heart, you didn't let it move in. That kind of patience, it shakes the heavens. There's a reason your journey feels slower than others. A reason doors closed when you were ready to walk through them. A reason answers came late or not at all. Allah wasn't delaying you. He was deepening you. Most people never reach this stage. They break early. They trade faith for speed. They abandon trust for control. But you stayed. And because you stayed, Allah began working on parts of you no one could see. Your intentions were purified. Your ego softened. Your heart strengthened. Your reliance shifted from people to Him alone. This is the stage where many feel lonely, misunderstood, forgotten. But listen carefully. Silence from Allah is not absence. It is preparation. When Allah goes quiet, it's not because He isn't listening. It's because He's arranging something that requires your heart to be ready first. If He gave you everything you asked for too early, it would have distracted you. If He opened the door before you were formed, it would have broken you. So He waited. And in that waiting, you were being shaped. There were nights you cried and didn't even know why. Moments where your chest felt tight without explanation. Times you questioned yourself, your worth, your direction. That wasn't weakness. That was growth. Allah was emptying you of what couldn't go where He's taking you. This is why people left. Why plans collapsed. Why things you thought were permanent disappeared. Not as punishment, but as protection. Because where you're going, those things couldn't come with you. And here's something few people realize. The more Allah loves a servant, the more deeply He prepares them. Ease comes later. First comes formation. You weren't ignored. You were selected. Every act of patience you thought went unnoticed was recorded. Every moment you chose Allah over comfort was preserved. Every sacrifice you made quietly was stored in the safest treasury of the heavens. And when Allah releases what He has prepared for you, it won't just solve problems. It will elevate your entire life. You'll look back and understand why it couldn't happen sooner. Why it couldn't come easily. Why it had to be this way. Because this version of you, the one listening right now, is capable of handling blessings without losing gratitude, influence without arrogance, relief without forgetting Allah. That's rare. This is why your patience shocked the heavens. Not because you were perfect, but because you stayed sincere while hurting. You trusted while confused. You obeyed while tired. And Allah never forgets that. If you're still here, take a moment and write in the comments, "I remained patient." Not for others, for yourself. Let it be a quiet witness of what you survived. And if someone you love feels lost, delayed, or spiritually exhausted, share this with them. Sometimes Allah answers a DU letter 2BF a Macron letter 2BE through a video sent at the right moment. As we come to the end, breathe. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not weak. You are being prepared. And if your heart feels calmer than when you started, stay connected with Deen and discipline. The next message may speak to a part of you that hasn't found words yet. Allah sees you. Allah knows you. And what He has preserved for you is worth every moment you waited. And before you think this was just comfort for the moment, let me say this slowly because it matters. What you're experiencing right now is not the end of the test. It's the shift. There is a subtle moment in every believer's journey where Allah stops testing the strength of their patience and starts testing the purity of their heart. This is where intentions are weighed. This is where sincerity is revealed. This is where the soul either becomes bitter or becomes beautiful. And you chose beauty even when it hurt. You didn't let hardship turn you cruel. You didn't let delay turn you resentful. You didn't let loneliness turn you arrogant. You stayed soft in a hard season. And that softness is power. Most people only worship Allah when life is calm. You learned to worship Him when nothing made sense. That's a different level of faith. This is why you sometimes feel detached from the world. Why noise drains you. Why shallow conversations don't satisfy you anymore. Your heart outgrew what once entertained it. Allah was training you for depth. And here's something you need to hear clearly, without doubt. Not every delay is a no. Some delays are Allah saying, "Not yet, because I love you too much to rush this." There are blessings that require maturity. There are answered DU letter 2BF, a Macron, S that demand a certain version of you. And Allah refuses to hand sacred things to an unprepared heart. That's why He took His time with you. You might feel like you lost years, but nothing was wasted. Every season you thought was empty was actually full of unseen work. Roots were growing. Strength was forming. Wisdom was settling. And when the time comes, and it will come, you won't just receive relief. You'll receive clarity. You'll understand why certain people couldn't stay. Why certain doors had to close loudly. Why certain prayers were delayed so long they almost broke you. And instead of anger, you'll feel peace. Because you'll see the pattern Allah was weaving all along. This is the moment many people quit. Right before things shift. But you didn't. You stayed when it hurt. You trusted when you couldn't see. You waited when impatience screamed. And that patience didn't just impress angels. It shaped destiny. If you're still listening, let me gently ask you something. What part of you has Allah been strengthening in silence? Your trust, your discipline, your humility, your resilience. Write it in the comments, not to explain, just to acknowledge. Because naming growth helps you recognize it. And listen, if you ever feel the weight coming back, remember this moment. Remember that Allah does not prepare ordinary souls for ordinary outcomes. He prepares deeply for deeply meaningful lives. Stay close. Stay sincere. Stay patient. And if your heart is open, stay connected to Deen and discipline. The next message may arrive exactly when you need it most. You are not late. You are not lost. You are being led. Quietly, precisely, by the one who never forgets. There is something else Allah does with the ones He chooses, and it's rarely talked about. He allows you to feel misunderstood. Not because people are cruel, but because your journey no longer fits into common explanations. You can't fully explain why you're tired. You can't fully explain why you're quiet. You can't fully explain why your heart feels heavy even when things seem fine. So you stop trying to explain. And in that silence, Allah becomes your only witness. This is where true reliance is born. When applause disappears, when validation dries up, when even the people closest to you don't fully get it, you learn something powerful here. You learn to stand with Allah alone. And that is not loneliness. That is elevation. Because the moment your heart stops needing the approval of creation, it becomes fully available for the Creator. This is why distractions were removed from your life. This is why certain attachments became uncomfortable. This is why pleasures that once felt exciting now feel empty. Allah was gently pulling your heart back to Him. Not with force, but with wisdom. And yes, there were moments you almost gave up. Moments where you thought, what if I'm doing all this for nothing? What if I misunderstood? What if I'm not strong enough anymore? But look at you. You're still here, still breathing, still believing, still listening. That alone is proof. Faith is not the absence of doubt. Faith is choosing Allah even when doubt is loud. And every time you chose Him, something inside you aligned. This is why peace now comes in waves. Not constant, but deeper than before. This is why you're learning to sit with discomfort instead of running from it. Why you're learning to wait without panic. Why you're learning to trust without control. These are not small lessons. These are the qualities of those Allah entrusts with responsibility, impact, and influence. And here is a truth that may surprise you. Allah does not give heavy tests to empty souls. He gives them to hearts He knows can carry light. Your pain did not mean you were weak. It meant you were capable. Capable of holding patience. Capable of holding trust. Capable of holding what's coming without losing yourself. And what's coming doesn't need to be rushed. Because when Allah finally unveils what He prepared in silence, it will arrive with peace, not chaos. With clarity, not confusion. With gratitude, not arrogance. You will recognize it instantly. Not because it's flashy, but because it feels right. It will feel aligned with the version of you Allah shaped in the dark. So if tonight your heart feels a little softer, if your breathing feels a little slower, if something inside you feels seen, that's not emotion. That's reassurance. Before you go, let me ask you one final thing. What did this season teach you about yourself and Allah? Write it in the comments. One sentence is enough. Your words may quietly help someone else who's still struggling to name their pain. And if you know someone who feels delayed, tested, or forgotten, send this to them. Sometimes Allah sends hope through another human heart. Stay connected to Deen and discipline. The next reminder may meet you in another silent moment. Until then, remain patient. Remain sincere. Remain gentle with yourself. Allah has not forgotten you. There is a quiet transformation that happens when patience lasts longer than pain. At first, you wait because you have no choice. Then you wait because you still hope. But eventually, you wait because your heart has learned something deeper. It has learned that Allah's timing carries wisdom your emotions cannot yet understand. This is the stage you're in now, where urgency fades, where desperation softens, where trust begins to feel less like effort and more like surrender. You no longer beg the way you used to. Your DU letter to BF a Macron S are calmer now. Shorter, more honest, sometimes just a whisper. Ya Allah, you know. And that whisper is enough. Do you realize how powerful that is? That means your heart has moved from asking Allah to prove himself to trusting him without proof. That's not ordinary faith. That's intimacy. This is also why you feel a strange distance from who you used to be. Old versions of you wouldn't survive this season. They needed noise, reassurance, control. But this version of you, this one can sit with uncertainty and still believe. Allah rebuilt you quietly, brick by brick, lesson by lesson, tear by tear. And even when you felt like nothing was changing, everything was. The reason Allah kept you waiting was not to withhold goodness, but to protect the goodness from arriving too early. Some blessings collapse when they meet an unready heart. Some answered prayers turn into tests themselves. So Allah waited until patience became your nature. This is why when things finally begin to move, they will move smoothly. Without force, without panic, without chaos, because you are no longer chasing outcomes. You are aligned with purpose, and alignment always attracts what's meant for you. There will come a moment, quiet, ordinary, almost unnoticed, where you'll realize you're no longer asking, when will it happen? You'll simply feel, whenever Allah wills, I'm ready. That moment is victory, not the result, not the reward, but the readiness. That's when Allah knows you can receive without losing yourself. If you've made it this far, pause for a second. Place your hand on your heart. Feel your breath. This calm, this grounding, this sense of being held even in uncertainty. That's not coincidence. That's tawakkul taking root. And if your heart is open, write this in the comments. I trust Allah's timing. No explanation. No story. Just that sentence. Let it be a reminder you can come back to when impatience tries to return. And if this message helps steady you even a little, share it. Someone else is silently asking the same questions you once did. Stay close to Deen and discipline. Not because you need more answers, but because sometimes you just need reassurance that you're not alone in the waiting. Allah is near, closer than you think, working in ways you cannot yet see. Remain patient. There's one final layer to patience that very few people ever reach, and it's subtle. It's when you stop asking Allah to change the situation, and instead you allow him to change you. Not because you gave up, but because you finally understood. You understood that some prayers are not answered by removing the storm. They are answered by strengthening the one walking through it. This is why you no longer react the way you used to. Why things that once shattered you now only pause you. Why pain still exists, but it doesn't own you anymore. Allah matured your soul. And maturity doesn't look loud. It looks calm. It looks steady. It looks like quiet confidence in divine wisdom. You may still feel moments of sadness. You may still feel tired sometimes. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're human. Even the strongest hearts feel heavy. But they no longer feel lost. And here's something deeply important to remember. Allah never wastes pain. Never. Every struggle you endured refined you. Every delay protected you. Every unanswered question trained your heart to rely on Allah alone. You were never being punished. You were being trusted. Trusted with patience. Trusted with silence. Trusted with a journey that would strengthen you instead of impress others. And because of that, your reward will arrive differently. Not always as a dramatic moment. Not always as something others can see. Sometimes it arrives as peace where anxiety used to live. sometimes as clarity where confusion once echoed, sometimes as contentment that no circumstance can steal. That is a rare gift. If you're listening to this and something inside you feels settled, that's not the end of your story. That's the foundation. Allah builds lasting things slowly. So when impatience whispers again, because it will, remember how far you've come. Remember the nights you survived. Remember the tears you endured. Remember the faith you held when nothing made sense. You didn't get here by accident. And before we part, let me leave you with this. Your journey is not behind schedule. It's unfolding with precision. Allah is not late. He is exact. If this message resonated with you, tell me in the comments. What season are you in right now? Waiting, healing, trusting, or becoming? Your words may quietly guide someone else who's still searching for language. And share this with someone who needs reassurance tonight. Sometimes Allah answers a prayer by placing a reminder in our hands. Stay connected to Deen and discipline. There are more moments like this ahead. Moments of clarity. Moments of grounding. Moments where your heart finally rests. Until then, be gentle with yourself. Your patience is not invisible, and Allah has not forgotten you. There is something quietly beautiful about the way Allah ends a season. He doesn't always announce it. He doesn't always remove the struggle all at once. Sometimes He simply gives your heart the strength to carry it differently. That's how you'll know you're close. Not because everything suddenly becomes easy, but because the weight no longer crushes you. You'll notice it in small moments. When something goes wrong and you don't panic like before. When disappointment shows up, but it doesn't steal your faith. When uncertainty remains, yet your chest feels steady. That steadiness is not from you. That is Allah settling your heart. This is the moment where patience turns into quiet certainty. Where you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin saying, "There is wisdom here even if I don't see it yet." This shift is powerful. Because once your heart reaches this place, nothing can truly shake you. Circumstances may change. People may come and go. Plans may rise and fall. But your center stays anchored. Anchored in Allah. This is why the past had to unfold the way it did. If life had been easier, you might have relied on yourself. If answers came quickly, you might have forgotten to turn back to Allah. But now your dependence is clear. And Allah loves a heart that returns to Him without being forced. If you're honest, there were moments you thought you were being broken. But Allah was never breaking you. He was bending you toward humility, toward sincerity, toward a faith that doesn't need constant reassurance. You are no longer chasing signs. You've become one. Your patience speaks louder than words. Your calm carries more weight than arguments. Your silence holds more wisdom than noise. And when Allah finally places you where you belong, it will feel familiar, not shocking, not overwhelming, just right, because He prepared you for it long before it arrived. So if tonight you feel reflective instead of restless, if your heart feels quiet instead of heavy, if you sense a strange mix of tiredness and peace, that's not exhaustion. That's completion of a chapter. Before this video ends, take a moment and sit with one thought. What did Allah remove from you that once felt impossible to live without? Write that in the comments if your heart allows. Sometimes recognizing what left helps us see what was saved. And if this message walked with you through something unspoken, share it. Someone else may be waiting for the same reassurance you just received. Stay close to Deen and discipline. Not because you need fixing, but because reminders keep the heart awake. Wherever you are in your journey, Allah is aware, Allah is near, and Allah is gentle with those who remain patient. Rest your heart. You've carried enough. And as we come into the final moments together, let me leave you with something grounding, something you can carry after this video ends. Patience does not mean you were silent because you were weak. It means you were quiet because you trusted Allah more than your fear. You didn't need to announce your struggle. You didn't need to prove your pain. Allah already knew. And the fact that you are still standing, still believing, still hopping, still turning back to Him, means the hardest part of this season has already passed. What remains now is gentleness. Gentleness with your heart. Gentleness with your pace. Gentleness with the version of you that survived what no one else saw. You are allowed to rest without guilt. You are allowed to heal without rushing. You are allowed to trust without needing signs every day. Allah does not rush the sincere. If this video felt like a quiet conversation rather than a lecture that was intentional, because faith grows best in calm spaces. Before you leave, I want to invite you, softly, to do 3 things only if your heart agrees. First, write 1 word in the comments that describes how you feel right now. Just 1 word. Peace, relief, hope, calm, seen. Let that word be your closure. Second, if someone's face came to mind while listening, share this with them. Not to fix them, just to remind them they're not alone. And finally, stay connected to Deen and discipline. Not because you need more content, but because the journey of patience is easier when reminders meet you gently along the way. This is not the end of your story. It's the settling of your heart before the next chapter begins. Allah chose you for patience because He trusts what He placed inside you. And that trust was never misplaced. And if you're still here, listening to the very last breath of this message, that itself is meaningful. Because people who don't care don't stay. People who aren't searching don't listen this long. People who aren't being worked on by Allah don't feel this deeply. So let this final thought settle gently in you. You were never meant to rush through life. You were meant to arrive with your heart intact. Allah didn't slow you down to punish you. He slowed you down so your soul wouldn't be left behind. Everything you thought you lost was either protecting you, redirecting you, or refining you. And everything that is truly meant for you is still on its way, carrying peace with it. You don't need to force the next chapter. You don't need to chase clarity. You don't need to prove your patience to anyone. Allah already witnessed it. So tonight, let yourself exhale. Let your shoulders relax. Let your heart rest in the knowing that you are held, guided, and seen. Wherever this message reached you, from pain, from waiting, from confusion, may Allah replace heaviness with calm, doubt with trust, and exhaustion with quiet strength. Stay with me a little longer, because sometimes the most important words come when you think everything has already been said. There is a moment in the life of every believer when patience stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like identity. You don't wake up trying to be strong anymore. You don't rehearse faith in your head. You simply are. That's the quiet miracle Allah performs in those who endure. You didn't notice when it happened. There was no announcement, no sign in the sky. But one day, you realized something had changed. The same situations that once made you anxious now meet a calmer version of you. The same uncertainty that once kept you awake now rests beside your pillow without stealing your sleep. The same questions still exist, but they no longer frighten you. That is not numbness. That is trust settling into the bones of your soul. And here's something deeply comforting you may not have realized yet. Allah does not test you forever in the same way. He tests, then He transforms. He stretches, then he strengthens. He delays, then he delivers gently. What you're feeling now is not emptiness. It's space. Space Allah created, so he could fill you with something better than what you lost. Sometimes he removes noise so you can hear him. Sometimes he removes people so you can find yourself. Sometimes he removes certainty so you can learn reliance. And through all of it you stayed. That's why your heart feels different now. Quieter, deeper, less reactive. You don't need constant reassurance anymore. You don't chase signs. You don't beg for clarity. You trust that whatever Allah writes next will make sense when it arrives. That level of surrender is rare. Most people only want outcomes. Very few are willing to be shaped. But Allah shapes before he gives. And the shaping you went through, it wasn't random. It refined your patience so it wouldn't break under blessing. It softened your ego so gratitude would have room to grow. It slowed your pace so your soul wouldn't be left behind when life accelerates again. Because it will. Life will move again. Doors will open. Answers will come. But they will meet a heart that is no longer desperate, only ready. If you think back, there were moments you almost asked Allah to take this patience away. Moments you said, I don't want to be strong anymore. And Allah listened. He didn't remove the test immediately. He removed the fear inside it. That's mercy. So if right now you feel a quiet tiredness mixed with peace, that's not defeat. That's a servant who carried their trust all the way through the storm. Before this truly ends, let me gently ask you to do one last thing. Close your eyes for a second. Take a slow breath. And remind yourself, I did my best, Allah saw it. If that sentence brings tears, let them come. They are not weakness. They are release. And if you've walked this far with me, don't leave without leaving a trace of yourself. Write one line in the comments, not for me but for you, about what patience taught you. And if you feel ready for the next reminder, the next quiet conversation, the next moment of grounding, stay connected to Deen and discipline. Not because you are lost, but because even the strongest hearts need moments of rest. Allah is gentle with you. Always has been. And always will be. Let this final extension feel like a soft landing, not an addition. Because at this point, your heart doesn't need more ideas. It needs reassurance. There is a kind of patience that looks like endurance. And then there is a deeper patience that looks like trust without tension. You're moving into the second one. You no longer wake up asking Allah to hurry. You wake up asking him to guide. You no longer measure your life against others. You measure it against sincerity. And that shift changes everything. You may still have unanswered questions. You may still not know how certain things will unfold. But notice this. Your heart no longer collapses under that not knowing. That is strength Allah gave you quietly. The truth is, many people receive blessings they are not ready for. They celebrate loudly, but they carry fear underneath. You are different. When Allah places what is meant for you into your hands, it will arrive with steadiness, with gratitude, with calm, because your heart has already learned how to hold weight without shaking. That is why your journey took time. Allah was not shaping your circumstances. He was shaping you. And the you that exists now is wiser, softer, more grounded, more aware of Allah in the small moments. That awareness is the real gift. Everything else that comes will simply be an extension of it. So if tonight you feel quiet instead of restless, if your chest feels open instead of tight, if your thoughts feel slower instead of racing, don't rush to fill that space. That stillness is sacred. It is the place where Allah meets a servant who has finally stopped resisting the process. You didn't fail because you struggled. You succeeded because you stayed. And that staying, that patience, that quiet loyalty, it mattered more than you will ever fully realize. When this video ends, don't rush back into noise. Carry this calm with you. Let it guide your next prayer. Let it soften your next reaction. Let it remind you that Allah's work in you is ongoing, gentle, and intentional. And when you're ready, no pressure, return to Deen and discipline. Not because you need answers, but because reminders keep the heart awake during long journeys. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not unseen. You are held. Take a deep breath. Not because everything is solved, but because your heart no longer needs to fight. You have carried patience longer than most. You have trusted Allah through silence, delay, and confusion. And that trust was never wasted, even when no one saw it, even when you doubted yourself, even when the nights felt heavy. Allah saw you. So let this be the moment you rest. Not from life, but from fear. Whatever Allah has written for you will arrive with peace. Whatever He removed was never meant to stay. And whatever He delayed was only waiting for the right version of you. You did your part. Now trust Him with the rest. If this message touched your heart, leave a comment. Even a single word is enough. And if someone you love is still struggling in silence, share this with them. Stay connected to Deen and discipline for moments like this. Not to be taught, but to be reminded. Allah is gentle with those who remain patient. And tonight, that includes you.